I am one of over 3 million young adults that still live with their parents. That's almost 1 million more of us staying at home than 2 decades ago. And this number is only going up. So with house prices on the rise, it's getting more and more difficult to even think about leaving home. And I don't think I'm the only one.
Legitimately difficult.
It feels like something that I don't even want to try and aspire to because it's so far away.
I don't know anyone who actually owns a home that's in like our year sort of stuff.
It can take an average buyer around 8 years to save up for a deposit in England, and saving all that cash doesn't come without sacrifice.
We can't go on like a holiday and stuff because you look at some holidays and they can be up to £1,000 each, and you think, well, that's £2,000 that we could have put towards a house deposit. So we want to do nice things, which we should be able to afford to do on the wage that we earn, but we can't.
Georgie and Dan have been saving up to buy their very first home in Derby for the past 2.5 years. But to avoid the costs of renting, they have decided to live together in Georgie's parents' home.
We still have to pay mum and dad rent, but we pay £100 each, don't we? It's nowhere near what it'd be to rent anywhere else. So, but they've done that so that we can afford to save, because otherwise there'd be no point in us staying here either. But then we're not in the position where they could give us any money. They won't, because they're paying off their mortgage. They're not in the position to just hand us some money.
So making lifestyle changes may help you save better, but the problem is still the same. People simply can't afford that first step on the property ladder. In fact, 40% of young adults can't afford to buy one of the cheapest homes in their area. House prices in England have risen by 173% over the last 2 decades, but average pay for young people has grown by just 19% over the same period. So what is actually being done to help?
You know, there are just small pockets of them in sort of localities, so it would help to have some more affordable housing, and probably would maybe then, you know, hopefully buyers will not be buying in the 30s, you know, be again sort of maybe in the 20s that they can get their foot on the ladder.
People are being forced to save hard to get on the property ladder. But for Georgie and Dan, getting their very first set of keys isn't so out of reach.
I think if 3 years ago, if we said in 5 years,
we might have been like, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think now, 5 years time.
Yeah, in 5 years' time, I'd hope so.
But is owning a home realistic now, and why do we even want to? In the current climate, is it just better to rent?
I like the idea of renting because I like the freedom of it. I like the fact that I can move.
Maria has been renting for over 20 years, and she doesn't see herself living any other way.
I don't have to pay for the maintenance, the upkeep. You know, I just need to keep it clean and presentable, which is my choice. I've no interest rates to pay. I don't have to worry about selling it. I don't have to worry about fees. I don't have to worry about anything, and I like the ease of it. And I certainly don't see it as a waste of money because it's a roof over my head every month, and that's what I pay for.
But not having control over your property is not always plain sailing. This was Michaela's kitchen a couple of months after moving into her shared house in Manchester.
We had a pipe burst and all the water was filling up and it was horrible.
Her decision to move in with 3 other girls was more out of necessity than choice.
It's kind of like a given, if you know what I mean. Like, I kind of like thought, oh, I can't afford my own place, I'm going to have to go in a house share, but it wasn't like a shock. It was a bit annoying, like, because obviously I would love to have my own space. I'd love to go home from work and, you know, have my things everywhere and not other people's things, but it's kind of expected really at this age to live with other people.
As part of her housing reforms, Margaret Thatcher introduced rules that made it easier for landlords to evict tenants quickly and without reason, meaning the security of owning a home became more desirable. But recently that law has changed. The government wants to protect renters from unethical landlords and in turn give more long-term security, but not everybody is happy about it.
The bad landlords have caused this, and that the landlords that abide by every single law going and do everything correctly and look after their tenants, I don't think it's fair at all, because when one comes along and they are so bad, and that you're going to have to then just sit back and let it happen because the law says so. No, it's not fair. I think it's so wrong, so wrong.
But with this change in the law and with more and more people looking to rent, perhaps the idea of needing to own your home is in the past. New homes are springing up all the time, but it's not fast enough. So with house prices on the rise, people are making their beds in unorthodox places such as tiny homes, container homes and even vans.
Hello and welcome to my van and house.
But is this really a genuine alternative to mainstream housing? Hi Chris,
Hiya.
Nice to meet you.
Hiya.
All right.
Come on in for a look around.
You. I've driven to Northumberland to visit one of the many tiny homes that Chris March has built and to find out whether this style of living is worth a go.
There's something quite romantic about it, I think, as well. People, tend to fall in love with them as well.
What sort of are the benefits of living in a house like this over mainstream housing?
Yeah, obviously its bills are really cheap. I mean, this is round about sort of £15 a month on electric if you hooked up to the grid. You can be fully off-grid as well, so this one hasn't got the solar panels on, but we do fully off-grid ones with solar panels, water collection systems, so you've got basically no utilities, and you've got the flexibility to move. You can rent pictures at caravan sites and travel around where you want to be.
But travelling around with your home isn't for everyone. That's why I'm heading to Newport to see how an old shipping container can become a place to live.
There's lots of shipping containers out there that sort of are not being used, and it's something that's innovative, affordable. 10 of these on a site would cost £350,000 of just for the accommodation, and that's 10 individuals or couples that you'd be able to house at the cost of £350,000. Now you couldn't buy two flats for that.
And as these alternatives develop, there are some people taking housing into their own hands.
So this is our kitchen. We've got the gas bottle that cost about €13.
Tom's £200 van is also his house.
And this gas cooker was a present. But I would say one of these to buy nowadays would be around £15 or so. You forget you're in a 20-year-old van. It's it's cramped, but it's cosy and it's very pretty. We've done it really nice.
So whether it's a cramped but cosy van or an affordable shipping container to call home, people are finding ways to avoid breaking the bank when they are putting a roof over their heads.